Hi everyone and welcome to episode 5 of our candidates preview. In this video we will be having a look at none other than former World Chess Championship challenger Jan Nepomniachtchi. So let's have a look. Alright, so Jan is from Russia, he's 31 years old. He will be playing under the FIDE flag. And he has a live rating of 2766 as of June 11th, which is the date of this recording. How he got into the candidates was that he is the 2021 World Championship runner-up. We will be talking about that match more later on. So he's obviously the winner of the previous candidates tournament. It's the only candidates he's ever played in. And before that World Championship match against Magnus, he was the only top player to have a positive score against the world champion. It was something like +4 for Nepo without any losses. But let's have a look at some of his games and what we can expect from Jan in the candidates tournament. All right, so a game that really showcases his strengths is one from last year from the candidates. He was playing with the white pieces against Kirill Aleksenko and opened the game up with the English. So Aleksenko responded with knight f6, g3 by Nepomniachtchi, e6, bishop g2, d5, knight f3. Black took this pawn over here, and white went queen a4 check. All of this is theory, and knight b7 was the move that Aleksenko chose. He captured on c4, a6, and here queen c2. A smart little move. If you were to play castles, which looks natural, black is happy because he goes pawn b5, the queen steps back, and after bishop b7, black doesn't have any problems. So queen c2 first by Nepo. The point is if black goes b5 now you have annoying knight jumps like knight e5, hitting this rook, and knight c6 is an issue as well. So here's c5 by black, knight is c3, bishop b7, which is actually already quite a mistake by Aleksenko. The main move, as I recall correctly, is the move queen c7 with the idea of going for b5 or b6. And bishop b7 was played, white castled, black castled, and now d4. A good move by Jan. He wants to open up this diagonal and the d-file and bring his other bishop into the game. So Aleksenko took, Jan recaptured. And black's main problem here is his bishop on c8. It's very difficult to bring it into the game. You cannot play b5 because you hang your rook. And even if you play rook b8, I mean, moves like bishop f4, not right away because the move e5, but those are always problematic. And even then, if you get in the move b5, there will always be this knight c6 jump. So Jan just improved his position with rook to d1. But what really made it tough here for Aleksenko is that Nepo kept on blitzing out his moves. So besides the fact that his position was bad, he's also being put under a lot of pressure on the clock. Anyway, so rook to d8 was played by Aleksenko, bishop to e3, knight b6, and rook ac1. And I actually also played Nepo in the Airflow tournament in 2016 in Moscow. And I sort of had a similar experience where, I would think of a move, then, he was walking around, I make my move, he sits down at the board, and just almost instantly makes his move. And it's just a style that's very annoying to deal with. And we see that in this game as well. So e5 was played by Aleksenko. Hitting the knight, now he's ready to activate his own bishop, but here white goes knight to f5. And now all of a sudden, there's a lot of stuff hanging in the black position. I mean, the knight on b6 is always loose. There's pressure on this rook. So Aleksenko captured the knight, but now white has the two bishops, putting a lot of pressure on black's queen side. So knight c4 was played. Bishop g5, great move by Nepo. You can't really take this pawn on b2 because now knight d5 causes a lot of problems in the black position. So Aleksenko took on d1 first, but now Nepo recaptured with the knight, creating a pin along the d-file. Rook d8 by Aleksenko, but now Nepo took on f6, and he played a very nasty bishop e4. So white is trying to take on h7, and usually you would like to play a move like g6, but in this case that hangs the bishop, so you simply cannot do that. So instead of that, Aleksenko played queen a5. He's trying to go for some counterplay over here. And Nepo played a very cool, calm and collected knight to c3. King f8. Knight d5. Now he wants to capture here eventually. And queen h8 would be checkmate because the knight is covering this. This knight is also under attack. And you cannot take the knight on d5 because white will just take. And here you have 2 bishops for the rook, but white goes queen c1 check, queen c8, and then captures the knight on c4. So Alexenko played b5, defending his knight over here, but now Nepo captured the pawn, threatening checkmate on h8. So Alexenko was forced to take here, and then go queen to d2, hitting the rook and the bishop. It looks like, you know, maybe he's getting out of the woods, but now Nepo captured on c4. And the problem is, it looks smart to give a check here, and then capture this bishop with a check, and you hit the rook, but white just has rook to e4, white's up in exchange, and white is winning. So instead of that, Alexenko just recaptured. Nepo played e4, cementing his bishop on d5. Alexenko took this pawn, and now very nice sequence by Nepo. He gave a check on h8, and after king e7, played queen to c8. So he wants to go after this pawn, then f7 will be under attack, a6 will always be under attack, queen c7 is a big threat. So Alexenko played queen to b6, but now he captured a pawn on c4. Once again, f7 is under attack. So Alexenko played queen b5, trying to go into an endgame, but Nepo found queen c7 check, and after queen d7, queen c5. And black is going to lose another pawn, and not a pawn that is unimportant after queen a6. Either white will keep this very nasty attack with the queens on the board, or if you go queen d7, you lose this pawn on a6, and the a pawn is simply going to be too strong. So Alexenko saw himself forced to resign. A very strong game by Nepo. Once again, he's really good at putting a lot of pressure on his opponents by playing fast, having strong preparation, and just making good moves. And all of that is a combination that's really tough to deal with. Now, Nepo's biggest, weakness is that sometimes if he loses a game in a tournament, he might just lose a bunch of other games as well. We saw in the World Championship match, the match was very, very close, right? He was tied after 5 games against Magnus. Actually, I would even argue that Nepo was maybe the slightly better player in those first 5 games. He had chance to win the second game. In the 6th game, he had his chances as well, but he lost that game, and he was just not the same anymore. He lost another 3 games, and the match was just not close. Magnus crushed him. So that will be the biggest challenge for Nepo, right? Just avoiding losses in the first place, but even if he gets a loss, to not let it affect him. But with that being said, let's have a very quick look at his pairings. So in the first couple of rounds, he's playing Ding Liren in the first round. That's actually, the last pairing of the candidates tournament in 2021. So they're picking up where they left off. Ding beat him in that game with the white pieces. So tough first round pairing for Nepo. Then after that, he will be playing Fabiano with the white pieces. Another very interesting game. Then he will be playing Radjabov. I don't expect him to be having too much trouble there. And then he will be playing Firouzja with the white pieces. So he's playing a lot of the heavyweights in the first couple of rounds. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he will be doing in the beginning. Usually, if he starts off hot, then he can really keep up the momentum, and that's when he's going to be very dangerous. But with all that being said and done, you guys, let's have a look at Nepo's chance to win. I predict that Jan has a 13% chance to win the candidates and get a rematch against Magnus Carlsen for the World Championship match. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether you agree or disagree, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video.